Hi, you're listening to Canyouth Exploration. You're listening to Canyouth Exploration, and we we realize that there is a particular topic that came in the news yesterday, right? And Canyouth Exploration, your topic in a podcast, just like to look at it for a while, right? Look, guys, this thing about same-sex marriage, we're going to be exploring that, right? In this sex and relationship series that we're also starting. Same-sex marriage, is it a sin? The Vatican had made a decision as it relates to same-sex marriage. And that decision was in the news yesterday. What did the Pope say about same-sex marriage? You might have heard, right? And basically, the Vatican is saying that same sex marriage is a sin, right? But let's explore this on Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I'm Canyouth White. We're going to be looking at a number of points here. We're going to be looking at the implications of this decision or argument by the Vatican that same-sex marriage is a sin. Look at what the Bible is saying as it relates to the definition of marriage. What the Bible is saying as it relates to same-sex marriage, and also look at what are the LGBTQ Catholics from the same denomination saying about the Pope's statement on same-sex marriage. So let us explore that for a while and see what comes out of that. Because I believe if the Pope is saying no to same-sex marriage, he is basically saying no to the the LGBTQ TQ practices, right? And that is something that is critical in this new development, and the confrontation, the conflict that will now start between the Vatican coming out to denounce same-sex marriage and the LGBTQ community. Look, basically, yesterday, Monday, the Vatican said that same sex marriage will not be blessed by the church, the Catholic Church, that is. And it was said that this sort of pronouncement was very combative, right? And therefore assertive, right? They, according to the report, the statement said the blessing of homosexual unions cannot be considered licit. You have to understand that term, licit, as well. Bear that in mind. However, the Vatican also said that God does not and cannot bless sin. So, naturally, the Vatican is saying same sex marriage is a sin. The church cannot condone it, and God cannot bless sin. So, therefore, the church will not bless the same sex marriage, same sex union atmosphere. So, that is something that is critical. But look at this. What is the church, the Vatican, really saying? The Vatican is really saying, hey, we do not condone lesbianism, homosexuality, and any practice that would lead up to same-sex marriages. So, leading from that statement, that pronunciation, that, hey, same-sex marriage is a sin, it's basically saying that homosexuality, lesbianism are sins, and the church should not condone either. So that is what you are hearing through that utterance as it relates to same-sex marriages being sinful. But how does the Bible though? How does the Bible actually define marriage? You know, in your sociology class, marriage is defined as that union between a man and a woman, you know, and so on, raising a family, the nuclear family. But look, how does the Bible define marriage? Right? That's something we need to look at as well. How does the Bible define marriage? I done some research here, and I've realized that the Bible had said some things about marriage in order to give us a definition of marriage. And I looked at True Freedom Trust.co.uk, right, as it relates to that. And the Bible defined marriage in Genesis 2, verse 24, as a union between one man and one woman. Jesus Christ upholds this definition of marriage in Matthew 19, verse 5. And it was reported that Paul also upholds this definition in Ephesians 5, verse 31. You see, this is a definition that was gleaned from the Bible by religious individuals, and it's important that we consider this definition. And it is believed that any other practices that take place outside of the context of this definition is sexual immorality. And that website also present the argument of sexual immorality outside of that definition as being printed, as being uttered in Mark 7, verse 21. The Bible defines, as we said, marriage in Genesis 2, verse 22, as a union between one man and one woman, right? And as it was said, Jesus upheld this definition, right? And therefore, the definition of marriage was engulfed in the Bible, and we have learned in our sociology classes the definition of marriage as it relates to the family and a Christian union, so to speak. But there's a redefinition, I want to think, within the LGBTQ community, right? And this is what the the Pope is going against or saying that it is sinful because it's against the Bible's definition. I'm not here to condone or condemn any definition or any practices. I'm just here to, on Canyouth exploration, to talk about it, right? To talk about it. But the Bible, that's the definition of marriage from the Bible. But how does the Bible define or see same-sex marriages? That's the other thing. Is the Bible against same-sex marriage? But it's logical to say that if the Bible define marriage as the union between a man and a woman, then it's logical that the Bible would be against same-sex marriage. But as I continue my research, I realize that the practice of same-sex marriage is specifically highlighted in the Bible as sinful, right? A number of times in Scripture. And for example, the condemnation of same-sex marriage in Leviticus 18, verse 22, and Leviticus 20, verse 13. And in the New Testament as well, in Romans 1, verses 24 to 32. And it was said that, Genesis also echoed that when both male and female same-sex practice are treated as sinful, right? And there's also 1 Corinthians 6, verse 9, and 1 Timothy 1, verse 10. And all these scriptures are coming from my research on truefreedomtrust.co.uk. And I've looked at it. What happened is that we can go through this scripture in subsequent episode in our sex and relationship series. When we can continue to look at same-sex marriage and is it a sin, right? We will ask one of our well-learned clergymen to come on and we talk about it, get a deacon to really explore some of the biblical utterance as it relates to same-sex marriage and the whole definition of marriage in the Bible. So those are things that we are going to explore, in subsequent discussion, subsequent podcast episodes on this whole thing about same-sex marriage. But there's another thing that come to mind as we look at same-sex marriage as sin, reflecting on what the Pope, the Vatican, has been saying about same-sex marriage, calling it a sin, and that it cannot be condoned by the church. There are members of the gay and lesbian community, let's narrow it down to that, who are in the Catholic Church. What are they saying? And it's they're going to have their views as it relates to the leadership of the church saying that it's a sin. I have read that the lesbian and gays in the Catholic Church, they expected that sort of a statement, right? They expected that sort of a statement. But I guess they they have reacted in a way that, even though they had expected it, it was shocking to them. It was said that it was a tragic statement coming out of the members of the church who are part of the LGBTQ community. One statement is that the fact that our church at its highest levels cannot recognize the grace in that and cannot extend any sort of blessing to these couples is just tragic. And that was said by a member of the LGBTQ community in the Catholic Church. So it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge for these members in the community, and it's also been a challenge for other churches. Been a challenge for other churches, and it's something that need to be looked at, right? So that this discussion, this conversation can be outlined, can be convened within the church setting in order to create a sense of clarity and what principles are accepted within the church. And principles should mean principles that are biblical and principles that are moral in order to ensure sanity within the church and within families. So the Vatican had suggested that it's sinful. Members of the community, the LGBTQ community in the church, the Catholic Church, had questioned the decision or the pronouncement by the leadership of the Catholic Church that same-sex marriages are sinful, and they have called it tragic. So, what do you think? I want to hear from you. We at Canyouth Exploration want to hear from you. Send us an email at wradio668@gmail.com, wradio668@gmail.com, and give us your views on the topic, and any topic for that matter. And if you want to come and talk, come and talk. Let us hear you. Let us hear your views on any topic that we have discussed. So continue to watch Canyouth Exploration. Continue to listen if you're listening on any of your podcast platform as we explore various topics, because Canyouth Exploration is your topic in a podcast, and we are on your favorite podcast platform. We're on YouTube channel, Canyouth Media. Rate, comment, subscribe, share with friends. We're not only coming on, guys, every week. we can just be a part of your radio wave, a part of your podcast wave, your YouTube wave, anytime, right? So stay tuned. Have a nice day. Continue to listen us. Goodbye. Stay safe.